Welcome back, everyone. Trying a little bit different setup this time with sound and lighting. Well, I'm recording at night and I have the microphone much closer, so let me know how it sounds and looks. Also, this video is going to contain pictures of me shirtless, so if you don't want to see that, you should turn off this video. Why I failed at bodybuilding over the past year mostly. So basically I got my DEXA scan results back and I didn't gain as much muscle over the past year as I was hoping. And I thought that was the case just visually by looking in the mirror, but I went ahead and paid $150 for a DEXA scan the other day down in Portland to get precise measurements on my body fat, my lean tissue mass. And sure enough, compared to last year, I have really not gained much muscle. Now, my weight wasn't exactly the same as when I got tested last year. So, and likewise with my body fat. So I'm doing a little bit of adjustment in my mind. You know, if I'd cut down a little bit more, if I was a little bit lower in mass, I think that my lean tissue gains would roughly be 2, maybe 3 pounds. Disappointing. I was hoping it would be more like 5 to 8 pounds. So it raises the question, should I do any more bodybuilding? Should I just throw in the towel? What can I learn from the past year? It's kind of what I want to discuss. And if you are into fitness or bodybuilding and you have any suggestions, you're welcome to throw them down in the comments. And we will consider what I could do differently. So DEXA scan, by the way, that is the gold standard for measuring body fat and muscle mass in the living human body. You can get dissected if you want a more accurate measurement, so just keep that in the back of your mind. Anyway, DEXA scan, you're probably only going to be able to get one in a larger city because it's a full-blown machine you have to get into, and they cost $100 to $150 per scan, but I think it's worth it once a year to know precisely where I'm at, because caliper tests and biometric impedance tests, which are the much cheaper ways of measuring body fat, can also be quite inaccurate, like 2, 3, 4, 5% off. And that's also why a lot of people just tend to exaggerate their body fat percentage. A lot of men in particular think that they are much lower in body fat than they actually are. They'll say they're at 10 when they're actually at 15, or they'll say they're at 15 when they're actually at 20. So DEXA scan kind of just removes the uncertainty from the equation. So looking at these numbers, if you are an experienced bodybuilder, you're probably thinking, wow, that is absolutely atrocious. If this is the first year you've done bodybuilding, which it was the first year I specifically did bodybuilding, yes. You might think that's atrocious in terms of gains, but keep in mind that this is not when I began weightlifting. I did begin weightlifting in my 20s. I experienced some great newbie gains back then, so I wasn't expecting to experience anything astounding in the past year. Needless to say, I was still a bit disappointed, quite disappointed. So when I was 18 at the end of high school, I was 6'3", 145 pounds, as I'll show you in a moment. That's really skinny. And then when I was 23, I started weightlifting and eating more. I did the Strongless 5x5. I gained about 25 to 30 pounds of muscle. Definitely had a glow up, a transformation then. Really helped my dating life at that time, which I'll talk more about in a later video. So those were my newbie gains, but still being 180, 185 at 6'3", that's not huge by any means. I looked much better than I did at 145 or 155, but 180 to 185 is still not huge for my height. But my body just doesn't like to carry muscle for whatever reason, and I'm pretty certain that's due to genetics. So 180, 185, that just kind of feels like my baseline after I did my glow up in my 20s. So I'm never going to be one of these guys that's 240 pounds or something like that. I know that, and that's fine. I don't want to be that. the type of activities I do, physical activities I do. Don't want that kind of muscle mass on me. I like mountain climbing. I like, sports, things like that. And there's no advantage to having to be carrying that much weight, even in muscle. So for next year, do I want to keep bodybuilding? Well, I switched to bodybuilding from strength training because aesthetics is important to me. I want to look good. And also, as you're improving your aesthetics, you can get stronger. But maybe, after these results, I should just say, okay, my genetics are awful. I should just kind of hang out at 180, 185, not try to, not expect to ever be, say, like 12% body fat at 185 pounds. That would be kind of my dream. And maybe that's not going to happen without a huge amount of effort. Maybe it's not worth it. I think, however, I can get there eventually, even though I'm almost 40 and, my testosterone, according to what I've read, my testosterone should have started decreasing around age 30. Supposedly, male testosterone decreases 1% a year after the age of 30. So my testosterone is decreasing, but I still think that I can hit some of these goals. I'm just going to have to make some adjustments. The past year I did train hard. I did eat high protein. I ate 1 gram per pound of body weight like you're supposed to do, or close to that. I didn't do a bro split, as it's called, or PPL, push-pull legs. I kind of had my own program I created, but I ran it by some bodybuilders, some nutritionists, and they thought it was a fine program, so I'm not too concerned about that. I could have definitely trained a little bit harder. I don't go to failure, which you don't have to go to failure from what I've read. But, maybe I still could have trained harder. I'm going to venture to say I definitely could have trained harder. There were plenty of days where I was not as sore the next day as I could have been. And maybe that just requires a little bit more volume. We'll see. I am going to add in more calisthenics. I'm going to start doing more push-ups and chin-ups, but that's not because that's optimal for bodybuilding. I just feel like doing that because that I think would motivate me to do longer workouts. I really like calisthenics, but I'm still mostly going to do barbell and dumbbell training. Major change I'm going to make this year versus last year is I'm going to lean bulk, and I'm going to, I don't know if it's called lean cut. I'm not certain what the term would be, but basically I'm going to try to figure out my maintenance calories once and for all, and then only bulk at about 200 or 300 calories above that. And then when I cut, I'm only going to cut at about 200 or 300 below that, because what I did last year is I dirty bulked, which is where you basically stuff your face with everything in sight. And for someone like me, that's kind of what you have to do if you don't want to calorie count. Otherwise, you're just not going to gain enough weight. So I basically just stuff my face constantly and then just look at the scale every week, make sure I was gaining weight. And since I was weightlifting, I assumed some of that was muscle, and it was. But it's a sloppy way to bulk. The more appropriate way is to just track calories, make sure that you're only 200 or 300 above maintenance, because your body's only going to put on muscle mass at a certain rate. If you eat far in excess of what your body needs in terms of calories, even during a bulk, it's just going to get converted to fat. So that means when you start your cut, then you have excess fat that you need to cut. And a lean bulk can minimize that. So lean bulk will keep me closer to my goal body fat in the first place. And also I'm just in the habit now of calorie counting. Really, more of what I do is calorie scheduling because I eat pretty consistently. So calorie counting is just easy for me. And that was part of the advantage of a dirty bulk. You don't have to calorie count. I'm also going to do more stretching and mobility training this year because I'm still having issues with my right knee and a little bit with my left shoulder. So this kind of ties into why I think I lost so much muscle mass during my cut this past year. Again, or maybe I didn't mention it, but I started bulking last year in September, and then I bulked until the end of March. I should note though that March I basically didn't work out because I was sick for basically the entire month. And then I started cutting in April. So from April to July, so April, May, June, basically 3 months, I lost 25 pounds. That's definitely too fast, I think. So I thought I was eating at 500 calories below maintenance, and maybe my maintenance calories aren't 2750 or 2800. Maybe my maintenance calories are more like 3000. So it's quite possible that I was eating in a huge calorie deficit. And if you eat in a huge calorie deficit consistently, then you will lose muscle, not just fat. And obviously every bodybuilder is trying to lose just fat and not muscle during their cut. So I think my cut was too aggressive. I think that was a big part of the issue. Basically what I'm saying is I'm going to try to train smarter this next year and assume that my poor results this year aren't just the result of crappy genetics. And I should actually show the pictures now. So this was me in February at a little bit before the peak of my bulk. That was when I was about 18 or 19% body fat. And like I mentioned, I bulked up to 20% body fat. And then I cut down to 14% body fat. And this is from about a week ago. So I was probably, let's say I was probably 195 pounds here. And then I was 20 pounds lighter here. And that's about 4 or 5% body fat percentage difference. So you can definitely tell I lost some muscle, but yeah. And I'll mention this. I don't have body dysmorphia. I'm not doing bodybuilding because I think I look awful. I think for a natural bodybuilder who is also naturally skinny, I think I look okay. I'm not embarrassed to take off my shirt. I've received compliments from women. I've received compliments from my male friends who are into fitness and bodybuilding. So I don't think I look terrible. I'm not going to be a fitness influencer anytime soon, but certainly I'm not sad about my physique, and it has certainly helped me in dating. But I would still like to be more aesthetic. I would still like to have more muscle, be able to have more muscle in my frame at this low body fat, and that's kind of my goal in the next few years. And then I'll also show this. This is me and my brother before he hit his growth spurt, so he looks quite tiny compared to me. I was 17, he was about 10, and as you can see, I was really, really skinny for somebody who is 6'2", 6'3", and that's kind of me before I did any weight training whatsoever. So just naturally very, very skinny. So you can see how compared to where I started, what my body naturally was at the end of high school, I've definitely made progress. So aesthetics matters, strength matters. This is why I'm going to keep training, keep bodybuilding. I went through a phase a couple days ago where I thought, man, maybe I should just throw in the towel with bodybuilding. Maybe I should just do the minimal strength training necessary to maintain what I have. And I thought, nah, I love being in the gym anyway. It's my de-stressing time. I really enjoy just going in, putting in my earbuds, putting in some EDM and hitting the weights. It's great. It's removed a lot of stress from my life and just keeps me in a nice schedule. Helps me fall asleep better each night. And then lastly, I'll say, hopefully this video has been encouraging for other natural bodybuilders, especially skinny ones like me, who are wondering, can I gain weight? Can I see any improvement? Yeah, you absolutely can. And I'd make the argument that everyone, male, female, no matter your age, should lift weights. Lean muscle mass directly correlates to longevity. Definitely directly correlates to health in a lot of ways. It's just a great thing to do. Everyone is going to benefit from lifting weights, from strengthening their body. It helps bones, all kinds of things. You can Google it, obviously, if you want more. So I am going to do another year of bodybuilding. I'm going to try to learn from this past year and not be too discouraged, and we will see what happens. So if you have any thoughts or comments, drop them below in the comments section. Also, please like and subscribe. Show this video to a friend that you think might also gain value from it. And also, if you want coaching on dating or self-improvement, then take a look in the video description to see how to contact me. So thanks for watching.